Hello and welcome to the Good One podcast. My name is Laura and I am here almost every day of 2025 uploading videos as I journey through the Bible this year. Missed you guys yesterday. Typically Tuesdays is supposed to be the we don't read day, but yesterday was a super long day. I got up at 7. I made it home by 9:30. Then I tried to record and the sound was terrible and I was up till midnight. I was like, I'm just going to go to sleep. This is a sign to not post it today and to post it tomorrow. I will take it for what it is. So, good note. I missed yesterday because I was auditioning for my church's worship team and I made it on that. So that was exciting. Okay. Not going to sing on here though, so don't worry. But I am very much looking forward to today. We're at 95 subscribers. I had a really cool interaction with someone on one of the videos that I posted, one of the shorts. They commented and they were pretty frustrated about, what does the Bible talk about certain topics that are very kind of like hot button topics today. And my response was just these are good questions for your local pastor. But the person came back and commented again and said, you know what, I'm sorry. And I appreciate what the story was about and, just keep being you. And that was awesome. It was just an awesome interaction. So if you ever make it back and you watch this video, thank you for your response because it really made my day. I appreciate it. Okay. We are today in Genesis. We are chapters 46 and 47. Just 2 chapters today. We can do it because tomorrow we'll be done with Genesis and entering into Exodus, which is super cool. I'm excited to see how these people all end up becoming slaves, right? Because this family is the family that becomes slaves, and all the Hebrews become slaves in Egypt. And right now they're sitting pretty high and mighty in Egypt because Joseph is the Pharaoh's right-hand man. So how do we go from right-hand man to slaves needing to be rescued by Moses? I'm really I have no idea how that happens. So I'm excited to get there. We left off and Joseph has now brought his family, or is bringing his family, to Egypt. So his family, Israel, finds out that Joseph is alive. His brothers find out he's alive. And now they're going to make their way over to Egypt. Go ahead and pause here, worship, pray, just get to know the Lord a little bit before we get started. All right. And let's begin. Chapter 46. Joseph brings his family to Egypt. I'm so excited for Joseph. I'm happy. And yesterday I was so tired when I read this, so I'm in a new, fresh mind, and I'm ready to read it. So Israel took his journey with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. And God spoke to Israel in visions of the night and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here I am. Then he said, I am God, the God of your father. Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt. For there I will make you into a great nation. I myself will go down with you to Egypt, and I will also bring you up again, and Joseph's hand shall close your eyes. And when I read that last night and I read Joseph's hand shall close your eyes, I was like, so he's going to die in Joseph's hands, and Joseph will close his eyes. That's how I took it as, because as someone who reads a lot of fantasy, I'm like, that's foreshadowing. That's what that is. Verse 5. Then Jacob set out from Beersheba. The sons of Israel carried Jacob, their father, their little ones, their wives, in the wagons that Pharaoh had sent to carry him. They also took their livestock and their goods, which they had gained in the land of Canaan, and came into Egypt. Jacob and all his offspring with him, his sons and his sons' sons with him, his daughters and his sons' daughters. All his offspring he brought with him into Egypt. So this is how all of the Hebrews end up moving into Egypt. This is how there's probably already people living there, but all of Jacob's family and all of Israel is now going into Egypt. Now, these are the names of the descendants of Israel who came into Egypt. Get ready. Jacob and his sons, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and the sons of Reuben. So these are Reuben's kids. Hanok, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. Just 3. The sons of Simeon. This is the next son. So Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman. All right, the sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The sons of Judah. These are Judah's kids. And remember, some of them are dead. Onan, Shelah, Perez, and Zerah. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan. Yep, because they were wicked. God killed them. And the sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamul. The sons of Issachar, which is, I think Issachar is from one of the servants, I'm pretty sure. Tola, Puva, Yob, and Shimron. The sons of Zebulun, Sered, Elon, and Jahleel. These are the sons of Leah. Oh, okay. So those were all of Leah's kids, who, remember, was the first wife. So Jacob, first wife Leah. These are all their babies. And remember, Leah was the one that he did not want to marry. That was all super wild. Whom she bore to Jacob in Padan Aram, together with his daughter Dinah, and that story was wild. Altogether, his sons and his daughters numbered 33, which is crazy that, like, from Jacob and Leah, 33 people came from that. Just in this time period, 33 people have come. But it's cool hearing the names now, because before, when I read out all the lists of descendants, like earlier on in Genesis, I didn't really have a connection to the names. But now when we're reading through, I'm like, oh, I know her, and I know him, and I know them, and they did this. So this is, like, nice being able to make that connection. So now when we read through the genealogy, it's like, oh, okay, these names have more meaning behind them. All right, verse 16. The sons of Gad: Ziphion, Haggai, Shuni, Ezbon, Eri, Arodai, and Arli. The sons of Asher: Imnah, Ishva, Ishvi, Berai, with Sarah, their sister, and the sons of Berai: Heber and Malachi. These are the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to Leah, his daughter, and these she bore to Jacob, 16 persons. So those are all of Zilpah's, which was the servant, Leah's servant. So Leah's servant's kids. Remember that Leah and her sister, like, had their servants start having babies with Jacob to make it even a bigger competition of who could have the most babies with him, I guess. It was really lame and kind of insecure, but... Verse 19, the sons of Rachel, Jacob's wife, his favorite wife, Joseph and Benjamin, and to Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh. Oh, Manasseh. Oh, that's a biblical name. I learn new things every day. I didn't know that. I actually know somebody with that name, and I was like, wow, that's such a pretty name. It's like Vanessa, but with an M. I've never heard it before, and it's literally in Genesis. So it's probably been around longer than Vanessa, honestly. Okay, and Ephraim, whom Asnath, the daughter of Potiphar, the priest of On, bore to him. So that was Joseph's kids. Sorry. Verse 21. And the sons of Benjamin: Bela, Becher, Ashbel, Gera, Naaman, Ehi, Rosh, Muppin, Huppin, and Ard. Those are funny names. Muppin and Huppin. It's like Jack and Jill, but, like, funnier. Verse 22. These are the sons of Rachel, who were born to Jacob, 14 persons in all. How crazy is it that from Rachel, she only had 2 kids, but she has 14 people in all that came from them. And Leah had 33, so she won the competition. I'm sorry, Rachel, but you were most loved, so really, who's winning? Verse 23. The sons of Dan: Hushim. The sons of Naphtali: Jazeel, Guni, Jezer, and Shalim. These are the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave to Rachel, his daughter, and these she bore to Jacob, 7 persons in all. So if we're competing, she loses the competition. She is in last place, 4 babies. Sorry, Rachel, when you add up your 2, you ended up losing. Verse 26. All the persons belonging to Jacob who came into Egypt who were his own descendants, not including Jacob's sons' wives, were 66 persons in all. And the sons of Joseph, who were born to him in Egypt, were 2. All the persons of the house of Jacob who came into Egypt were 70. So I think the reason they don't include the wives there, because at first I was like, why are we not including the wives? They're a part of the family. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, oh, no, but they're just including his descendants, like who have his blood in them. So all of his sons, and then his sons' kids, sons and daughters. That's why the daughters are included. All right, verse 28, Joseph and Jacob reunited. He had sent Judah ahead of him to Joseph to show the way before him in Goshen. And they came into the land of Goshen. Then Joseph prepared his chariot and went up to meet Israel his father in Goshen. He presented himself to him and fell on his neck and wept on his neck a good while. Oh, so sweet. Israel said to Joseph, now let me die, since I have seen your face and know that you are still alive. Could you imagine? Like, think about, he went all this time thinking that his son is dead and that he wasn't, like, he was gone, to just be able to see him grown up and older and hold him in his arms and say, like, I know Like, God is so good. Look at you still here. And look at the position that you're in. Without you being in this position, we would have all starved. Like, so it's just incredible. They're just hugging it out. I'm happy for them, however many thousands of years later. Verse 31, Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's household, I will go up and tell Pharaoh, and will say to him, my brothers and my father's household, who were in the land of Canaan, have come to me, and the men are shepherds, and they have been keepers of livestock, and they have brought their flocks and their herds, and all that they have. When Pharaoh calls you and says, what's your occupation? You shall say, your servants have been keepers of livestock for our youth, even until now, both we and our fathers, in order that you may dwell in the land of Goshen. For every shepherd is an abomination to the Egyptians. Wild. They're abominations. You don't need them? You don't want them? You don't need them to do the work? I'm like confused. I am confused. Chapter 47. So Joseph went in and told Pharaoh, my father and my brothers, with their flocks and herds, and all that they possess, have come from the land of Canaan. They are now in the land of Goshen. And from among his brothers, he took 5 of them and presented them to Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to his brothers, what is your occupation? And they said to Pharaoh, your servants are shepherds, as our fathers were. Verse 4, they said to Pharaoh, we have come to sojourn in the land, for there is no pasture for your servants' flocks, for the famine is severe in the land of Canaan. And now please let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen. Oh, so he's saying we've come here because there we don't have like any place for the little goats and sheep, because they're shepherds, to eat. So can we just come here and chill? Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Egypt is before you. Settle your father and your brothers in the best of the land. Let them settle in the land of Goshen. And if you know any able men among them, put them in charge of my livestock. Then Joseph brought in Jacob his father and stood him before Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And this is so crazy to me, because he's blessing the Pharaoh. How do you go from Joseph being the Pharaoh's right-hand man and blessing his father, blessing him, to them becoming the slaves of Egypt? I'm ready for it. Verse 8. And Pharaoh said to Jacob, how many are the days of the years of your life? And Jacob said to Pharaoh, the days of the years of my sojourning are 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not attained to the days of the years of the life of my father in the days of their sojourning. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from the presence of Pharaoh. He's saying, I have not lived as long as my dad or my grandpa. Like, I haven't lived as long as them, which makes sense because I've been tracking the ages, because God said he was fed up with people being 900 years old and that we weren't going to live past 120. So 120 is the cap. So I'm waiting to see when we're going to hit that magic cap of 120 and no one's going to live past that age. I'm paying attention. So right now we're at 130. We went down. We were at like 180, 170. Now we're 130. We're making our way down. Okay. Don't tell me who it is. I want to know. I want to find out for myself. All right. Verse 10. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from the presence of Pharaoh. Then Joseph settled his father and his brothers and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh had commanded. And Joseph provided his father, his brothers, and all his father's household with food according to the number of their dependents. That's cool, because they said that the shepherds were an abomination to the Egyptians, but even with them being shepherds, he put them in the land of Ramses, which is supposed to be the best of the land. So their occupation, Pharaoh didn't really... It seems like he didn't mind. He still ended up letting them live in a really good plot in Egypt and put them in charge of his livestock. Okay, verse 13. Now there was no food in all the land, for the famine was very severe, so that the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan languished by reason of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan in exchange for the grain that they bought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. And when the money was all spent in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, give us food. Why should we die before your eyes? For our money is gone. They're like, dude, we paid you all we have. We have nothing left to give. So you should still give us food even if we don't have money, because you have all of our money. There's no way for us to get more at this point. Verse 16. And Joseph answered, give your livestock and Joseph answered, give your livestock, and I will give you food in exchange for your livestock, if your money is gone. So if you don't have money to pay me with your animals. Next thing I want is the clothes off your back. That's not in there, but I feel like it might be. Verse 17. So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them food in exchange for the horses, the flocks, the herds, and the donkeys. He supplied them with food in exchange for all their livestock that year. That's just that year. And he knows that the famine is going to last 7 years. Right now we're on like year 4. There's still 3 years left. So what is next? I don't remember what he took next. Verse 18. And when that year was ended, they came to him the following year and said, we will not hide from my Lord that our money is all spent. The herds of livestock are my Lord's. There is nothing left in the sight of my Lord but our bodies and our land. Why should we die before your eyes? Both we and our land. Buy us and our land for food, and we with our land will be servants to Pharaoh. And give us seed that we may live and not die, and that the land may not be desolate. So these are the Egyptians, because I was confused on this last night, I'm remembering. These are the Egyptians that are selling themselves to Pharaoh, not the Israelites. These are the Egyptians that are selling themselves. Verse 20. So Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for all the Egyptians sold their fields because the famine was severe on them. The land became Pharaoh's. As for the people, he made servants of them from one end of Egypt to the other. Only the land of the priests he did not buy, for the priests had a fixed allowance from Pharaoh and lived on the allowance that Pharaoh gave them. Therefore, they did not sell their land. So literally just the priests. All the regular people are servants now. That's wild. Verse 23. Then Joseph said to the people, behold, I have this day bought you and your land for Pharaoh. Now here is seed for you, and you shall sow the land. And at the harvest you shall give 1/5 to Pharaoh, and 4/5 shall be your own, as seeds for the field, and as food for yourselves and your household, and as food for your little ones. And they said, you have saved our lives. May it please my Lord, we will be servants to Pharaoh. He has not technically saved. I don't like that. Yes, you've saved their lives, but also you knew this whole time that the famine was going to happen. So you set them up for failure. You could have taken less money at a time, knowing that over the 7 years, you would have ended up collecting all the money anyways, because you know how long the famine's going to last. Joseph, I'm questioning your integrity. Okay, my friend? Okay? I felt bad for you. I cried for you. And now I'm questioning your integrity because you're doing all these people dirty. Now they're all servants. Verse 26. So Joseph made it a statute concerning the land of Egypt, and it stands to this day, that Pharaoh should have the 5th. The land of the priests alone did not become Pharaoh's. Thus Israel settled in the land of Egypt, in the land of Goshen, and they gained possessions in it, and were fruitful and multiplied greatly, having tons of babies. Tons of babies. Verse 28. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the days of Jacob, the years of his life, were 147. And when the time drew near that Israel must die, he called his son Joseph and said to him, if now I have found favor in your sight, put your hand under my thigh and promise to deal kindly and truly with me. Which I have learned that placing the hand under the thigh is not as weird as I think. Obviously nowadays it's weird, because if I say promise and somebody goes to grab my thigh, we have problems. But back then, it's a very nice thing. And it's serious. It shows that you are serious. Okay? He says, do not bury me in Egypt. Verse 30. But let me lie with my fathers. Carry me out of Egypt and bury me in their burying place. He answered, I will do as you have said. And he said, swear to me. And he swore to him. Then Israel bowed himself upon the head of his bed. So he died. Or his staff. Another word for bed is staff, apparently. So not just, he could have just went like this. But, so I'm guessing he died. Maybe he didn't die. I just read I gotta close this because I'm reading the next verse, and it says, after this, Joseph was told, behold, your father is ill. So I'm like, okay, he's not dead yet. He just bowed his head. He's saying, listen, I'm about to die. I'm very sick. And when I go, bury me with Isaac and Abraham. Don't bury me in Egypt. This ain't the homeland. Take me back. All right, guys, that was today. Only 2 chapters, and somehow the video is the same length. No worries. But I am excited. The more that I read, the more questions that I have, which is like, I love it. I love being able to open up the Bible and to read and not end reading being like, oh, I'm done. I need a break. I end reading and I'm like, okay, but what happens next? And how do they get to this point? Because I only have like little snippets here and there. I know, like I keep saying it because I know Moses comes from Joseph's lineage. He has to. And then, but everybody's slaves when Moses frees them. So like, how do we get there? I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to keep going. I don't know anything about this David guy. I keep hearing his name. He's got a whole book. Samuel, these people, Ezra. I really like the name, but I know nothing about any of them. So I'm really excited to just keep digging this year. So I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm not taking any days off again until next week, Tuesday, and I'm hoping to do something special next week, Tuesday. So, all right. Thank you guys for being here. Hasta mañana. Have a good night, day, evening, however you do it.